Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and today, well, not really today, but like right this second, I'm going to talk about the cinematography look, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, of What Normal Boys Do. No, I'm not going to be using video today because I don't feel like it for two reasons. Number one, it is the great COVID lockdown of 2020. Everyone's talking about it. And number two, I look like a fucking caveman, wandering nomad. I really just look like a fucking caveman right now. There's no way I'm looking around it. So I don't want to torture myself later looking back on these, and I really don't want to be looking back on this and just bowing my head in shame and being like, what the fuck was I thinking of? And number two, nobody gives a fuck about who I am and what I do. So fuck it. I'll just do what I want.
Fuck it. I'll be God now.
So, right off the bat, for context issues, let's talk about when this happened. So this is after You Deserve Better, that clusterfuck, and well before Reverse Uno, that clusterfuck. So it just nestled right in there. This is about the time I started really taking cinematography serious and looking at what I could do, what I want to do, and then from there, realistically, what it was going to take for me to get what I needed. So before we even begin, we're going to talk about what lenses we used, or lenses I used. So the lenses I used was the 50mm 1.4, the Rokinon 35 T1.5, the Rokinon 85mm T1.5, and a Tokina 11-16 2.8.
Fuck's wrong with you?
If you can't already tell, or if you haven't already cringed really hard, you'll begin to notice something. And it's fucking glaring. A Canon, two Rokinons, and a Tokina. That would spell disaster to begin with. And this is also around the time when I had a mixed kit, because, I thought it was a great idea. Who wouldn't want to have a mixed kit? It's the best of every world. Duh. Never mix and match your kit if you can help it. It is the fucking worst decision of your life. And you'll see in the stills, because the color science and everything is, not really color science, but the colors are just way all over the place on some shots, and you're just like, ugh, what the fuck. So, I guess the main point on what I want to talk about is...
Just spit it out, man.
Failing forward, and the idea that if you don't fail and if you just always won, like if you always win the game, you don't learn anything because there's nothing to learn from it. You just win. Like, you win first place or you win the match. You win. There's lots to be learned in failing, and failing I do that a lot. Off frame over here. Ooh, wrong one. Off frame over here we had I think it was a redhead. So the redheads are a 1K tungsten light. That's more like an IK, but no, it wasn't even that. I used a Kino Flow, and they put a soft output just to put some light coming up from this side, so we just edge out our actor here, and we turned on every single light in the house we could. So we are filming at my friend's house. His parents were gracious to give us to us all for this price tag of $0. So beggars can't be choosers. You take what you can, and if you can get a free location within reason, you fucking take it.
Yeah! Very nice! Oh! What was the point of that?
So nothing too special, lights on everywhere, and you just try to augment it, just push a little bit of light from the side. It was really dark over here, and it was just causing lots of headaches, and there's a lot of shadows coming from the side over here. So I at the time I was like, hey, fuck it, let's just throw a light over there. And moving along, the same issue kind of happened here, where there was light, but it wasn't enough. So we ended up putting a light off frame right behind us. Off frame, we put a redhead and then just fired it into the ceiling, because you know what? Light, the way we perceive light as humans, and just in general, creatures in general, the sun comes down and then it bounces off every fucking reflection, it bounces off every little thing, and that is how we see light. Congratulations, now we've just graduated from kindergarten.
Yeah!
For kicks, you have a light, whatever. So you're firing it, you put it as high as you can to the ceiling, and what happens? Well, you get this. You get a massive spill in all directions. Yes, it looks flat, but what you're really doing is that you're raising the level of the entire workspace, your entire canvas space, not workspace. You're raising the level of your entire canvas space by raising it up. And by raising it up, you're putting ambient light into the surrounding area, and then you can shape it if you choose to. Or in this case, because it's a comedy, just leave it fucking flat as shit.
Yes, I'm comfortable with that.
You know, given the time, this was 2016. Fuck. I think it actually was 2016. 2016, 2015. And fuck of me, that was so long ago. And you can even see here, like, just the way that the colors, like the purple is kind of muted right here. And then the second we jump over here, it's much darker. So I think this was actually my 50. And this is probably my Tokina. Right off the bat, look at that. Look at those color differences. Ugh. Eesh. Yeesh. So we're in this bedroom.
Go on.
Why did we pick this bedroom? Because the orientation happened to work out perfectly for us, because the way you come in through this door and all the space is over here. So it was an easy way to have a character walk in. You know, you have your visual comedy. Looks like the boy is masturbating. Aren't we having a good time? Joke's on you, he's not. But anyways, we'll get to that in a second. So what did we do over here? This was dubbed the sauna room because we had two redheads. So we're basically firing 2K of light at both our talents. And we put it as far into the corner as we could. We took a bed sheet. We kind of draped it as a silk. And past the bed sheet, we have a net. Just cutting a little more light going on to our actor here. And we're just letting it blast to our other talent over here. Just clean it, let it clean and let it go. And then on the other side over here, which is through blocking, and because our child talent is blocking it, there is a China ball, one of those giant Kinoflow China balls. You can get these Kinoflow CFL bulbs. This is well before the time of like the LED CFL bulbs, Edison bulbs. So yeah, fun times, eh? When technology wasn't as advanced. Big China bowl there, skirted with garbage bags, actually. So skirting it off the wall so it doesn't spill onto the wall, and then you can see the spill heading that way, so it's just blasting. You can kind of see that light in this shot right about here. You can see a little bit of spill coming from the China ball off of the frame here, and it's just a matter of just putting a little bit of ambient light into our talent and then just splitting them up from the background. Sometimes you make genius decisions that just happen to work in the moment because it's for whatever reason everything falls into place for you, and then you don't know what the fuck you did. So how the fuck are you gonna replicate it next time?
Yay! Yay!
Again, same the same setup after this one. This one was just kind of a one and done setup because, like, clearly this is what we were dealing with. We pushed the bed as far as we could into the corner, and right over here, and right on the other side, we have our lights just blasting every light this way. And you know, if this for some people, oh Jesus motherfucking Christ, look at how bad of a color job I did.
Damn!
Sorry, Christian, if you're listening to this at some point. Eek. So why didn't we remove the bed, or, you know, set dress it better, etc., etc.? Well, first of all, again, we come back to the issue that it was for this dollar amount, which doesn't really leave us with much to do. I guess we could have moved the bed. We could have done realistically anything we wanted to, but because a lot of this falls into just making something, and you just get out and just do it, and define, and then you can worry about the nitty gritties later. And I know some people in the future are going to look back on this and say, well, you know, every time should be the one. Everything should matter, and everything does matter, but it's about those building blocks, and clearly this one was not designed to be the one that makes it, and the next one is not going to be the one that makes it, but the next one is just a little better. And I can tell you that After this one was Reverse Uno, and Reverse Uno is just a little better. It's still fucking garbage, but it's just a little better. And after Reverse Uno, I think I did Construction Horror, which is coming out some point in the future. And then I did Replacement, which is coming out, and I did another one. It's still just building blocks, and you get to a point where you understand everything. And you can't look at every single one as being like the one, because it's not the one. Like, it should be a building block. It should be a piece of the puzzle that just fits that niche to push you that much forward. And then if it happens to be, the first one you do is a mega hit, and you win all these awards, and congratulations, you go off to Hollywood, and you're doing blockbuster movies, then I don't know, I guess I'll eat my fucking words. But this is not for the child prodigies. This is for the average Joe.
You see, a guy like me.
That's gonna probably never go anywhere except for making tutorials on YouTube. Moving along. This is my favorite frame, and you can really see the China ball. Well, you can't really see it, but you can see what it's doing over here, just accenting light this way. Just a little bit of a push. It looks really nice, and you're just edging out our talent from the background. Just there's the subtle things that just gives it a little bit of a punch. And again, this was kind of an accidental genius decision. It just happened, and it works. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
One day you're hot, the next day you're not.
Finally, problems with lighting big spaces. So my little monkey brain was like, oh, it's going to work? We're going to put a China ball on the top here, and that China ball is just going to spread this whole area.
Fuck's wrong with you?
Because there's no way in fucking hell a China ball is going to light this entire fucking space. That's way too big for a little LED, a little CF. That's way too much space for a little CFL bulb. So, again, resorted back to turning on the house lights, and then firing a 1K into the ceiling. Yeah, we did a 1K into the ceiling. Just raise that ambient and just try to get the level there. Try to get everything to work, and then you do your close-ups, and the same issue. We didn't really move any lights because we had promised we were going to be out a lot sooner than what we were, and we didn't. We ended up just staying way later than we should have. I don't think I'm ever allowed to shoot at my friend's place again. I haven't asked either. I mean, it's been like 4 to 5 years, and I haven't asked either. So, yeah. Ooh, boy. So, huge lessons in failing forward. I know this wasn't too much. It wasn't too exciting. So you have to fail forward, learn from your mistakes. So there's one thing. It's one thing to fail forward, and it's another thing to learn from your mistakes. And it's really fucking hard to learn from your mistakes. It's really hard to sit the back and just look at what you did wrong and say, well, why didn't that work? Well, maybe it didn't work for this reason, and maybe it didn't work for that reason. Maybe it didn't work because for various reasons, and there's so many issues that could happen. And there's just so many things that can go wrong, and it just could be the fact that, that because the talent looked a certain way, it just worked, and if they would have looked any other way, the shot would have been fucking shit. Or maybe it was the reverse. Maybe one shot looks like shit, but if the actor would have looked any other direction, it would have looked great. You learn with that with time and by critically looking at what you're doing, and yeah, I mean, there's not too much to it, but it's just like everything else. You have to learn, and you're gonna have to fail, and you're gonna have to fail a lot. This is part, I think, 3 of my ever failing series. So if you want to point and laugh, now's the great time. And until next time, which is hopefully sooner than later, hope everyone's staying creative. Peace out.